Nancy Morgan Hart was born in Orange County, North Carolina in 1735. Nancy Hart caught 6 British soldiers, killing her last turkey after they forced her to cook it for them. She and her husband shot 3 soldiers and hung the other 3. While her husband was fighting in the Revolutionary War, Nancy participated in covert activities as a spy, even though she had children. Nancy died in Henderson, Kentucky in 1830. Hi, my name is Nancy Morgan Hart. I was a spy in the time of the Revolutionary War when my husband Benjamin Hart was participating in the war. I was participating in covert spy activities, even though I had children to care for. As a spy, I would dress up like a man to get close to the British to overhear and collect important information. My big act involved 6 British soldiers. They shot my last turkey and forced me to cook it for them. I did, and I gave them corn whiskey with the turkey to get them drunk. While they were eating, I snuck my gun through the wall and shot 3 of them and hung the other 3 with my husband, Benjamin.
Molly got her nickname by carrying pitchers of cold water to soldiers to drink and pour over their cannons to cool them down. She helped give the soldiers breaks by loading the cannons while they rested. Molly was married twice. Her first husband was John Hayes, whom she had no children with. He died in 1789, and she remarried George Macaulay. While in the act of going to a cannon, she was shot by the enemy. It passed directly between her legs without doing any damage other than carrying away all the lower part of her petticoat. At the Battle of Monmouth, Molly Pitcher witnessed her first husband, John Hayes, collapse at his cannon, unable to continue with the fight. She immediately dropped her water pitcher and took his place at the cannon.
Hello, my name is Molly Pitcher. The soldiers nicknamed me Molly Pitcher because of my tireless effort by carrying pitchers of water to soldiers and to their cannons to cool them off. My occupation was a folk hero for taking the place of my husband's cannon when he collapsed during the Monmouth War. I remained in the Continental Army till the war ended. Then I moved back to Charlesley with John in April 1783. Following my husband's death, I remarried a war veterinarian named George Macaulay and worked in the State House in Charlesley. I was honored by the Pennsylvania legislature in 1822 for my wartime services, receiving an award of $40 and an annual compensation of the same amount for the rest of my life. I died on January 22nd, 1832 in Charlesley, where a monument ceremonies for my heroic acts in battle.
Betsy Ross was born on January 1st, 1752 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Her full name was Elizabeth Phoebe Criscom. She was the 8th of 70 children and was raised by her mother and father. Some of her brothers and sisters died as infants. She was taught to sew at a young age by her Aunt Sarah Griscom. Betsy Ross had a difficult life. She was married 3 times and lost all 3 of her husbands. 2 were killed during the Revolutionary War. When her 3rd husband died of an illness, Betsy was left to run the tailor shop by herself. She had 7 kids, and all of them were girls. She raised them all on her own when her husbands died. Betsy wasn't always the woman who people believed sewed the first American flag. George Washington decided he wanted a flag to represent himself and the colonies. He knew Betsy was an excellent seamstress and asked her to make a flag. She made him a flag that looks similar to our flag today. Betsy Ross died on January 30th, 1836. She died of natural causes when she was 53.
Hello, I'm Betsy Ross. I attended a Quaker school when I was a little girl, which led up to me being an excellent seamstress when I was in the process of sewing the first American flag. I made the flag because George Washington wanted a flag to represent him and the colonies during the Revolutionary War. He asked me because he knew that I was an excellent seamstress. After I was kicked out of school because of marrying my first husband, John Ross, we opened our own sewing shop. When he died, I was left to run the shop by myself with no help, so I decided to get remarried to Joseph Ashburn. Then he died, and I had one final husband, John Claypool, who also died, and I stayed in Pennsylvania.
Abigail Adams was born in Weymouth, Massachusetts. She was born on November 11, 1744. Her parents were William Smith and Elizabeth Quincy Smith. She married John Adams, and they had a son which he became president, and his name was John Quincy Adams, and she had daughters. In the battle, our army had no bullets, so with the help of her children, she got all the silver in her house and made bullets for the army. The army was so thankful they tried to do their best in the war. After the war, Abigail put her time into women's rights. She made quotes about women's rights. Also, Abigail said if they didn't get treated as men, they would make a rebellion. Abigail Adams died on October 28, 1880.
Hello, my name is Abigail Adams. When I was young, I didn't get the proper education due to my poor health, but me and my sister had access to our father's library, where we were taught literature and our mother taught us from home.
Patience Wright was born in the year 1725 in Oyster Bay, New York. Patience Wright was a famous American wax sculptor. Patience opened a successful wax sculpting shop in New York. When her shop burnt down, she moved to England to pursue her sculpting career there. She was hired by many British royalties, including King George III. Patience Wright let colonial prisoners who had escaped into her home during the Revolutionary War. Patience sent English military contracts to her sister in America by hiding them in her wax figures. Patience also passed information along that she overheard while sculpting for British clients. I, Patience Lavelle Wright, was born 1725 in Bordentown, New Jersey. I was the mother of Joseph Wright. I was considered America's first professional sculptor. I sent information to the colonies that I overheard while sculpting for British royalties. How would I be able to send the information I had gathered from England back to the colonies? I used my art. I hid messages in hollow busts and sent them to my sister Rachel. Rachel then sent the messages along to members of the Continental Congress and to other patriots. When I was in England, I helped to free and shelter Americans who had escaped imprisonment. My supporters included Benjamin Franklin, Deborah Sampson, the King and Queen of England, and William Pitt.